Welcome back. Now it's time to address a Department of Labor complaint that has many components to address, from evaluating exemption status to assessing overtime pay and even correcting errors in an employee handbook. This complaint covers it all. Let's get into it. As an HR representative tasked with investigating a complaint, it is essential to conduct a thorough analysis of all of the available information. This includes examining witness statements, reviewing any relevant documentation, and gathering additional data to ensure that you have a complete understanding of the situation at hand. It is your responsibility to leave no stone unturned in your investigation and to make an informed recommendation based on the facts you've gathered. By doing so, you can help to minimize the risk of similar issues arising in the future and ensure that all parties involved are treated fairly. As you navigate the analysis of determining whether or not the position you are analyzing is exempt or non exempt, it's essential that you use the Fair Labor Standards Act designation worksheet. This worksheet is a tool that you can use during the review of the exempt and non exempt designation of employees under the Fair Labor Standards Act and wage and hour laws. As a reminder, the FLSA can exempt executive, administrative, professional, and computer employees from overtime and minimum wage requirements. However, non exempt employees must receive at least a minimum wage for every hour worked and must receive overtime for anything in excess of 40 hours in a work week. Non exempt is the default designation, and it is the employer's burden to prove that an employee may be considered otherwise. As you create your risk memo, include your analysis on whether or not the employees are exempt or non exempt, whether or not there are pay issues that need to be addressed, and any risk that you identified for not correcting the issues. Next, you'll need to identify and document gaps in the excerpt from the handbook provided and identify any policy violations that conflict with the FLSA laws and regulations. Ensure that you cite the violations with supporting ideas and FLSA reference material. In your memo, provide any recommendations for the errors that you have identified. Finally, detail some steps that the organization can take to prevent these errors from occurring in the future. As a recap, at the conclusion of your analysis, you should include the following information: the payroll investigation worksheet, the risk memo, and the manager memo. As an HR professional, it's essential that employee positions are designated correctly according to FLSA guidance. The FLSA gives the Department of Labor the authority to recover back wages and liquidated damages to be paid to employees and to assess civil money penalties to be paid to the government in instances of minimum wage, overtime, and other violations. It's essential not to run afoul of the FLSA so that your employer and employees don't suffer the consequences.